verse. It's not hard. It's actually quite easy to set your mind on all those things, positive things that incorporate things you want anyhow. Peace, tranquility. Just got to train your brain to keep manifesting just that, even in those times when you're being tempted by some other stuff. I mean, everybody wants control of yours. They don't want you to be in control of yours, because once you have control of yours, you dictate where that thing goes. You dictate all things. You control it because it's you. They can't do nothing without you, especially for most of their programs, because it takes you to implement their program. I mean, think about it. Corporate America, they couldn't amass the money that they do without you working for them, buying from them, the whole thing. I think about my doggone iPhones. 4 devices since 22 are now pretty much gone, except for this computer. This is a laptop. And I'm supposed to buy another one? Keep adding to that wealth. That will never happen. I will be off. They're trying to get me off TikTok anyhow. Because I'm telling you, once you really do the research and extrapolate this stuff like I have in the past 4 years, from one fast, one reset fast, 21 days, nothing but water. In 4 years, they're ready to take me off. They're ready to shut it down. And I can understand it. Because I didn't know. I'm researching. I'm going through this journey, kind of like in the blind, but it's feeling right. So it just keeps propelling me to more. That's how I did the 40-day fast. I started with 21-day fast, and I did it 10 times. But after the first 4 times of 21-day fasting, I did 40 days. Y'all don't understand what's in store for you. And I'm telling you, I'm just giving you my experience with starting with fasting. That's not the end of the game, but it's a great start, and you can kind of float on that for a minute. Just fasting, just purging your body. I mean, really, authentically, with nothing but the things that are in your body to do it with. I ain't talking about doing no herbs. I'm telling you, that duck flower is awesome, but it can't do what the doggone reset fast can do. We're going to start identifying the reset fast as the major detoxification. It is the one that you have to work towards. Many people may not ever get to do the detox, the complete main detox, which is the reset fast, because it's not for everyone. Some people have eating disorders. Some people have chronic issues where they're heavily dependent on pharmaceuticals. Some people might have, but this is one of those things, stretch of faith. Start weaning yourself by just doing all fruit, then doing all teas for just a little period of time where it won't spike too much, but get your body used to that kind of feeding. Eradicate all kinds of stuff that they say is bad, like, carnivorous stuff like meats, dairies, cheeses, meat byproducts, stuff like that. Just try it. If you alter your diet in those small steps, you might see a difference. If you see any difference, add to it. You might start with just getting rid of meat. Now it starts feeling like, oh, I got a little bit more energy, and I'm actually losing some weight. What is that? And I wouldn't even say meat. The first thing is get rid of the sugar, them carbs. Those carbs, Yeah. And then the energy that it takes to really break those down. I'm saying you got to go through this methodically where you're actually doing and something that makes a difference that's sooner than later visible. Like I said, I did 21 days of nothing but water back in 2020, February. And after those 21 days, I no longer had high blood pressure. I no longer had 60 pounds. Like 60 pounds? Where'd that come from? Y'all stop playing. I can't believe I actually lost 60 pounds. But it was documented from my time being at the doctor's office upon arriving to the States from Australia to the point, might have been about a month before I did the fast, to the point where I had to go back to the doctor to get cleared with the PCR to go to Bimini. I was out. I was gone, or no, that might have been June to go to Isla Mujeres. I took CJ to Isla Mujeres for his birthday, which I've done for all my children, taking them to some island. Janae, I think, was Grand Bahama. Brittany was Bimini, and CJ was Isla Mujeres. But anyhow, so in doing that, it was like, it's time for us to kind of really revamp things because I'm loving this water. I'm a fish. I'm the incredible Mr. Pip. What's his name? Don Knotts played the part. I always thought that I was him. That movie affected me to this day. Where I think that really, once I get down, especially when you got the tanks on and you're really down there, it's like I should be a fish. I'm telling you, it's very encouraging to hear that we actually have some established communities, even though it might be some hookery or whatever. I like the idea of even thinking, imagining that there's life down there. You know, the incredible Mr. What's his name? I can't think of his name. That Don Knotts played. He loved the water. He loved fish like me. Man, I'm Pisces, y'all. Straight Pisces. I'm the heart of Pisces. I love me some water. Anyhow, he started looking into the water and fell in and turned into a fish. It may be wild as wild can be, but boy, wouldn't that be something? Never have to come up for air. I don't know. I love exploring new territories, and that's what the traveling is all about. And even with the diet, y'all would never have thought if I ate differently, I would feel differently. Never would have thought that. Because, man, eating that cheeseburger with that beet on it, that started becoming my thing in Australia. I had never heard of that. But I ordered a cheeseburger with the beet, with the lettuce, tomatoes, onions thing. They put a beet on it. That thing was so good. I hate beets. Anyhow, I think that when we go through looking at our lives and the most happiest we've ever been, the most healthiest we've ever felt, the most clear-minded we've ever experienced. I mean, can you imagine having all of that at one time, right here and right now? That's what it is. That's exactly what it is for me. Being in my best shape ever, having the skin that I've always wanted, not always blotched with hair and dark marks, and not having to put all of these things. Man, I'm telling you, I really believe that the owners of MAC and Sephora, they had to have been able to buy a boat, a house, or something with just me. I was a private investigator for the defense in D.C. for many years. I used to have to testify, and my image meant a lot to me. So yeah, you never see me, blemishes and marks and stuff. Shoot, MAC, Sephora, and when I did this fast and being able to see that truly, I don't need none of that. I haven't had any of that. You think we import? They probably do, but I haven't gone looking for that. Buying the imports from the U.S. and these other countries for 3 times as much as I pay for them in the States. I can't see doing it, especially when we have all this natural stuff right here in the backyard. Man, my boy put Turmeric. What do they call it? Chuchima, Chachima. Can't think of what they call it here. It's a patois name for it that I should know because that's what they call it. But anyhow, he just had the roots. No dirt, nothing. You put them in a plastic bag and put them on the ledge back there in the backyard. Every last one of them is grown. No dirt, no nothing. Just being in that plastic bag. This is turmeric. Naturally, organically grown turmeric. You think I'm not going to make something with it? Turmeric is a great natural dye, to put in your clothes, your cottons, your linens. And I'm talking about natural material. Because we done got crazy with this polyester, this lycra and all that stuff. Y'all realize these are plastics that are feeding our bodies directly these poisonous toxins. Y'all do the research. I'm doing it. And I'm really trying my best to get away from a lot of stuff that I've been used to growing up, like the deodorants, the just the body sprays. Because I love smelling good, so I do. But man, we got the hibiscus. We've got so many different fragrances. Even the cherry. You got the blue vervain and the red clover. Red clover. Oh my God. You can smell it from afar. It smells so beautiful. Fragrances, all natural. Doing my hair with coconut oil and the spring water straight from the mountain. So it's like, I think that this appeal here in St. Lucia and really trying your hand at going off grid in one parameter of your life. Because on a computer, you can set up different parameters. One holds all things with Word and the Microsoft background, and one holds all things with the Mac. And they're separate. They don't intermingle. You call one, you can do the same thing with your getting back off grid, where you just set up part of your environment where you're doing all potted. And I'm thinking of people who have limited space for planting. In buckets, you can start some plants. I still got trees. I think it's 4 of them now. It's got the mango, the soursop, the lime, and the papaya, all growing in the same bucket. Have been since I was 2 years ago now in Gros-Islet. Still, and I bet the roots are just fighting. I don't want to create any crossbreeds because I don't do crossbreeds, but I believe that they have sustained themselves independently until I can get them to the ground. So anyhow, but I think that in manipulating the earth, growing the things that you want, you start. I know I got a bunch of plants out there because I take the seeds from the fruits that I eat, and I salivate them with all my DNA, and then I plant them. So I know that those that actually grow are straight up made for me, like these medicines that they're trying to emulate from your body with case studies, hundreds of people that don't include you, so that they can find something that close enough, will help you in maintaining whatever, because there are no cures yet. There have not been any cures that I've seen. Yeah, guys. Hi, my TikTok family joining me over here on YouTube. But I had like an epiphany with just growing some seeds and looking at some of the vibrations and how deep this frequency of not just cells from our body, but cells from the earth, cells from the things that we eat. They're emanating different lights to tell what they're good for in your body. It's so coded for so many great things. Because when you think about red light, you're thinking about that light that's emitted when we see a red apple, a red papaya, red pomegranate, or anything red, tomatoes. We're seeing that because it's vibrating on a frequency that emanates that red light. And that red light, that frequency that it's on, is like between 400 and some odd megahertz. And they're actually called terahertz because they're like 1/trillionth of a cycle. We're talking about trillions of cycles per second. That's the speed of like light and light rays. And some other things. And I need to get to that page. I'm going to lower this screen just so I can fit both of you on. Because I found some fascinating things that all of us should know about. Man, freak this, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Let's get to the scholarly peer-reviewed research that's been done on it. It's already here. We don't have to search for it. We do not have to recreate the wheel. Now, we already know about the colors of fruit being vibrant indicators of their nutritional properties simply because of the vibration and frequency of the light that is emanating. These colors are due to pigments such as chlorophyll, carotenoids, flavonoids, and anthocyanins, each associated with specific health benefits and frequencies. Let me give you a breakdown. Y'all need to pause for a minute. Hold on. Because I'm about to break this down. Each color of each fruit that we eat emanates a frequency. That frequency helps our body in certain ways. So,
to run your business profitably. Yo, go online now to start living a solution dream. Just one click and boom, you're in business.
Blast Gaming 21. Celebrate with us in December. Join us as we celebrate a year of thrilling games, exciting wins, and amazing memories. We're giving back to you. Get a chance to win weekly prizes of televisions, cash, and so much more. Plus, the grand prize of an all-inclusive trip for two to Panama with $500 US spending money when you spend $50 or more on bingo or PLTs. Don't miss out on all the fun prizes and rewards. Thank you for a fantastic year. Blast Gaming, powered by the Solution National Lottery.
Bringing the new year with elegance and excitement and solid. Breakfast Fest on January 1st. Forward brings you the best of everything from DJs, breathtaking ambience, and inclusive mouth-watering breakfast. Secure your tickets now at eventbrite.com or at the Sun outlets. Join us on January 1st at the luxurious campus.
If I haven't properly introduced myself, my name is Robin, and my alkaline vegan journey is just that, my personal journey into alkaline veganism. It started in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. I just did a fast. Instead of taking the shot, I decided I was going to fast. I mean, I thought all things led to building a more strong, I guess, immune system. And I read where you could do that with fasting. And it seemed more natural. I mean, I didn't have to take anything, no supplements, no herbs, no nothing, just water. And some of that water that we were taking was edified with so many nutrients and stuff, which it should if you're drinking it on a daily basis. But we started doing real deep research with those doctors that were actually doing case studies on fasting and found that they were using distilled water. And we did a little more research, started following them, and found that, of course, when you're trying to get your body to do all repair, why are we assisting it? Why are we actually adding things like spring water? Spring water has a lot of nutrients in it, and that's what you should be drinking on a daily basis. But when you're stripping your body of all nutrients just so that it can repair itself, that's what needs to be done, and that's done with distilled water. Distilled water is just a process of boiling the water such that all you're getting is nothing but pure water. It has no nutrients in it, And I have to look that up. When I do my case studies research, when I do any kind of peer-reviewed research, scholarly research, I'm always looking at the updates, because what might have been reported back in 2022 may have had an update because of new science and new techniques that have come about. So I always go back and look up the case studies and any of the peer-reviewed information that I've looked up. But as far as it goes with these pigments having vibrations, my latest, which would have been about 2 weeks ago in the peer-reviewed scholarly research, shows that all of these fruits that we eat have a certain vibration or frequency. And that's simply because we see them in a light of color that shows exactly what frequency they're vibrating on. like red fruits, apples, strawberries, cherries, tomatoes, pomegranates. Now check this out. And I never thought to even think this deeply. Now, if the fruit is emanating a certain frequency, what do you think that does to our bodies? Because we now know that every cell in our body is vibrating on a frequency. So what do you think that does? It's going to interact in some kind of way, even the earth and everything around us. But knowing that the foods that we eat can be targeted to vibrate on a frequency that does certain things. And that's what these doctors are doing. I'm looking at all this research from Stanford. I am amazed that we are so far behind, that we have not caught on to, and this seems basic to them. You've got pigments like lycopene and anthocyanins. They emanate that red frequency light. The light that you see that's red, like I say, is vibrating on a frequency. And that frequency is between 400 and 484 terahertz. We're going to get into what terahertz are. I'm telling you, I'm learning so much. It's like I never knew about none of this, even though my background is computer electrical engineering. And I started off with a path to medicine with chemical engineering. I love science. I really do. And I was bad at it until I caught on, thanks to one of my professors at Howard. But anyhow, these lycopenes and anthocyanins are emitting light on a certain frequency. That's why we see them as reds. And they're in these red fruits. But guess what they do as far as health benefits? Y'all, red fruits are rich in antioxidants that support cardiovascular health. That's heart health. Then you got lycopene that reduces the risk of certain cancers, particularly prostate cancer. Cancer prevention. They combat inflammation. Come on, that's your anti-inflammatory. Why is it we didn't put together these very common basic things that are, let a scientist tell you, let anybody in math tell you, just are phenomenons of our earth. Why are we just now? Maybe we were, because I have to go back. Okay, let's talk about orange. Orange, they're considering like oranges, peaches, apricots, mangoes, cantaloupe. Now I can resonate with this because they have these pigments called beta carotene. Heard of that before? And carotenoids. Okay. Now, what are these? Now, that means that these particular pigments are vibrating on a certain frequency. And these frequencies, because these things are vibrating at high frequencies, they're measured in terahertz, T-E-R-A hertz. That's, all these things when they do imaging for x-rays and medical facilities. They've even gotten it down to molecular biology, the frequencies of our cells. And that's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm researching. But this particular orange frequency, these carotenoids and beta carotenes, they're actually vibrating on this frequency called terahertz at the tune of 484 to 508 terahertz. I mean, because if you know that your body in a state of complete health is vibrating on a frequency between 60 and 72, I got to look up that measurement, that unit of measurement, because I don't know if that's terahertz, but I think it is, because we're talking about molecular biology. We're talking about the actual frequency of a cell when it's healthy and when it's not. When it's not, it's straight up vibrating below 58 terahertz. That's significant. Anyhow, when you talk about just the orange from that frequency that is vibrating on, you're talking about high in vitamin A, essential for eye health, vision support, rich in vitamin C, strengthening immunity, immune boosting, promotes collagen production. That's skin health. You know what I mean? And once you get into the frequencies and these colors and how they emanate straight, and they're only with naturally growing things, y'all. Stick with the organic whole plants, those things that are providing fruits that provide seeds that can be planted and grow more fruit. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. Let's talk about yellow. When we see yellow fruits like bananas, pineapples, lemons, papayas, some of my papayas are orange, especially that meat inside. So I'm putting them with the orange fruits. But anyhow, that yellow pigment is called lutein, I'm going to say, or zeaxanthin, zeaxanthin. I'm gonna get these words right because I'm new to all of this and they haven't been in my vocabulary, but once they are, and they will be, we're gonna be using them like they use them. Lutein and zeaxanthin. Anyhow, these are yellow pigments. They vibrate on a frequency between 508 and 526 terahertz. They are both of them reduce the risk of cataracts and macular degeneration. That's eye protection. They're high in natural sugars for quick energy boosting. They're rich in fiber and enzymes like bromelain, digestive health. These are your bananas, your pineapples, your lemons, and papayas. And I say all of this stuff is more kitchen grade, the things that you should be eating simply to maintain. And in maintaining, you're going to overload those destructive cells that need purging almost naturally, but at a slower rate than you would if you just did that complete reset detoxification. But it works over time. Then you got the green fruits. Now, y'all know a fruit is anything that has a seed. And I'm still qualifying on onions because I don't get it. I put an onion that I get from the store, and I never, ever get an onion back. I always get scallions. But they say the way to grow onions is with a seed. Where'd the seed come from? Anyhow, these green fruits are vibrating on a frequency of 526 to 606 terahertz. And we're going to go back and we're going to do a holistic overview of all these colors and their frequencies and how they directly affect the human body. But these green ones, the pigment is called chlorophyll. Heard of that before? Chlorophyll. We got green apples, kiwis, grapes, avocados, all of that stuff. When you see them and their flesh, not so much their skin, but their skin can be equated like watermelons. You can do some stuff with that to get the green chlorophyll, because when it's emanating that green color, you know it's chlorophyll. That's how basic that is. You know, these green fruits help remove toxins from the body. That's the detoxification. They're high in vitamin K and calcium, which means bone health. They're loaded with vitamin C and folate. That means immunity support. And that's vibrations between 526 and 606 terahertz. Now, let's get into the dark, deep purple and blue fruits, like your blueberries, your blackberries, your plums, your grapes. That whole pigment, anthocyanins and flavonoids. Heard of them before? Anthocyanins and flavonoids. These blue and purple fruits vibrate on blue light. And the frequency range for these vibrating on that blue light is 600 to 670 terahertz. I need y'all to remember that number. 606 to 670 terahertz. Now, how does this affect the body? Improves memory like what? Cognitive functioning. That's your brain health. It combats oxidative stress. It reduces signs of aging. That's your anti-aging. Blue and purple fruits. Cancer prevention, because it's high in antioxidants and it fights free radicals. Breaks them up, because when they start coming together, that's when they start forming these all different forms of cancers, these radicals. All of our bodies have them, but these antioxidants bust them up. They don't get a chance to come up and meet, become friendly. Nah. So that's your purple and blue fruits, y'all. But then you got the white brown fruits. They describe them as being like those really ripe bananas that we've been throwing away. Brown. The pears, the dates, the coconuts. Your white, check this out. White and brown fruits, more particularly the white fruits, are emanating a white light. Y'all know what white light is. It's the combination of all visible light frequencies. Now check this out. These pigments are your flavonoids. Now you got some flavonoids with these other components for other attributes, but we've come across flavonoids, but these are some other flavonoids. But these are flavonoids and allicin. And they're describing this allicin as something that you might find in garlic. Now, I'm checking this out. Ginger, garlic, okay. And check out the orange in turmeric. Anyhow, the benefits to the human system, this white light emanating at all visible light is high in antioxidants and allicin. That's the immune support. It reduces cholesterol levels. That's that bad cholesterol, because you got the HGL and the LAL, I believe it's called. One is good cholesterol and one is bad. We'll talk about that some more. And then you contains calcium and potassium. Y'all really look at the functions that go on in the body. First and foremost, to create the energy that allows you to open your eyes and to stand up if you can stand. All of the energy that is produced in our body is in the mitochondria within the cell. When that machine in that cell is functioning properly, you're getting energy exactly the way you need it to do all functions. But often we're not. And it's funny because this particular white fruits emanating all visible light has a high concentration of calcium and potassium for bone strength. This calcium and potassium, more so the potassium and some other elements that I've been studying, that completely contribute to the energy transfer of the breakdown of the sugars when you're doing food, breaking that down into that 6-carbon sugar, into getting it into that cell and producing that ATP, which is adrenaline triphosphate, something like that. The phosphorus, the potassium, the sodium, and there's another element that's key in that transfer. And we're going to talk more about that. But some of these things you have to understand are directly related to why we're sick or healthy. And I can't say healthy. I'm saying why we're sick, because we're devout of some of these things. Not only do these vibrations come from the frequency and the light that it emits, but there are actual nutrients. There are about 61 of them that our bodies need daily. And that's why I keep talking about sea moss. Sea moss takes care of that. If you're not getting it daily, or you think you're not getting it, you're sickly or whatever, start doing your sea moss. It has 95% of everything your body needs. Nutrients, amino acids, fatty acids, all of it. And it's so natural. They're just now, considering sea moss as a superfood in certain areas. Y'all don't understand. We've been ahead of the game in the U.S., but in some of these islands that are producing it, and might be producing it off scale, because we don't touch stuff that's growing on a rope. And a lot of these countries are being subsidized to do just that. The real nutrient comes when these sea vegetables are growing in their natural environment, and that's on the substrate, like the coral reef, the rocks. I mean, it's almost like the symbiotic relationship between the two is just so symphonic. The sea moss is a sponge. The coral, the reef, the rocks, all of them are nothing but hardened bodies of nutrients, hardened bodies of the things that our bodies need. That's why I say the under earth is just like the stuff on earth, in that the trees are straight up meant for us for oxygen. It takes all the shit out the environment, like the CO2 that they're trying to fight. How you going to do that cutting down trees? Bill Gates. And I hope that what I'm hearing about him and his efforts to occupy and straight up cut the trees of 70 million acres of land that I think he owns now. And somehow this new science, and I think it's for those of us who might have a new immune system that can actually benefit from the eradication of trees. Because from my elementary science, I was always taught that when you have trees, that means you produce oxygen. It's actually taking in all the bad stuff like the CO2, and through a process called photosynthesis with the sun involved, it takes it, processes it, and gives it back to the environment in a form of oxygen that we need to breathe. So I don't know, maybe my science is old, outdated, was wrong, was a lie. This day and age, I don't know what's real, what's not. I really don't. Only the things that I've experienced. And this resonates with me because I'm feeling this stuff. Red fruits, 400 to 484 terahertz. Before I get into this, I want to explain to you what these terahertz are. These things are massive. It's like, what? Okay. So the breakdown of terahertz. Tera is a prefix that denotes 10 to the 12th power. Trillion. That's what it means. Tera means trillion. Okay, we got that? Hertz is basically a SI unit. That's a standard international unit for measuring frequency. And it's defined as 1 cycle per second. So every second it has 1 cycle. Whereas with terahertz, you got 1 trillion cycles per second. So that's how fast this shit is. And it's basically used in certain sciences. And so when you think of a red emanating on a frequency of 400 to 484 terahertz, just know that that's 400 to 484 trillion cycles per second. They talk about Flash on Big Bang Theory, and I love that doggone show. And it goes up, orange 44 to 505, 508, yellow 508 to 526, green 526 to 606, blue 606 to 670, and violet 670 to 770 terahertz. That's trillion cycles per second. I mean, just imagine it. Try to think about it. Now, the way it's applied is first through physics and science. The terahertz in that arena means that the frequencies are commonly discussed in optics, spectroscopy, and communication technologies. In biology and health, we use terahertz waves can penetrate certain materials, making them useful for non-invasive imaging techniques. Like, when you get the x-rays and stuff, the actual image that you see is measured in these terahertz, trillions of cycles per second. Wow. So anyhow, terahertz again is, 1 trillion metric unit. When talking about hertz, it's 1 trillion metric unit of the measurement of frequency. So now when we talk about frequency, and I need to get basic because sometimes we have learned this stuff, we don't really know how to apply it, but I need y'all to learn how to apply it so y'all understand what this human frequency transformation is all about. So we get into the basics of it and just describing and coming up with definitions for some of the terms that we might have known might have changed, because I'm understanding that the atom is not the smallest unit of matter now. That's something that at least 5 generations have been privy to. Now it's changing because now they're stating that every atom has a component, and it's either lines, and that's where the string theory comes in. But then there's a vibration of sorts that is nothing. It's just, I want to call it the dark matter that's occupied by frequency. And y'all, I'm getting into it because I love this. And they started talking about it on Big Bang Theory. I love that show. But anyhow, the frequency is a measure of how many cycles of a periodic signal occur per second. So when we're talking about, and I mean, really, it could be any unit. It could be sound. Right now, we're talking about frequency, and sound might be measured in frequencies as well. But when we're talking about frequency, we're talking about those. God, I'm telling you, and I'm trying to get it on that level, but it's so hard because it goes deep. When you just talk about frequency, it's even a smaller unit. Like I said, evolving to that atom, which is actually comprised of even smaller items, which may not be of matter at all. Anyhow, I'm gonna get back to that. Frequency is a measure of how many cycles of a periodic signal occur per second. So the periodic signal in this is just frequency itself, and the cycle is per what is it? Trillion cycles per second. I need to find out what these cycles are for hertz. SI unit of frequency. I'm gonna go back because y'all, I'm telling you, stuff like this catches me all the time, and I can't just let it go. Now, when we talk about visible light, and that's what we are talking about, because the scientists and those professionals have told us that the visible light that we perceive as colors fall between approximately 400 terahertz, which is red, and 770 terahertz, which is violet, in the electromagnetic spectrum. We're going to get into that because I have forgotten this electromagnetism is a whole different science, and it equates exactly what they're talking about. But we need to get back to the root. The applications are in communications. They're using terahertz right now. These terahertz frequencies are studied for next generation wireless communication. That makes sense. Imaging, like I was trying to infer before, the imaging is when they do medical imaging, like x-rays and things. They say imaging, security scanning, and non-destructive testing. Then they have spectroscopy. And I remember spectroscopy, to me, without looking at what they've written, is about the separation of colors. So I want to say, yeah, the terahertz waves can be used to study the vibrational modes of molecules. That's the separation of it. Yeah, I'm learning so much. The key takeaway is that terahertz is the shorthand for describing very high frequencies, specifically 1 trillion cycles per second. It's a crucial unit in physics and science for describing phenomenon involving extremely rapid oscillations, such as light waves, electromagnetic waves, and even molecular vibrations. And that's the part of the study that I'm interested in, because the electromagnetic waves that are in the molecular structure affects our health. So, it's so funny because we got herbs that can help us with this transition and this assimilation using the light that's emanated from each of the colors of the fruit. Now, to raise white blood cells, a lot of people who are facing low immunity, those people who are probably infected with some sort of disease, and they're soldiers, they're white soldiers, which defeat foreign objects in our body. Thus, the immune system are being over inundated. You can really do things that will raise your white blood cell count. Echinacea, they say, is one of them. It boosts the immune function and stimulates white blood count production. It contains alkamides that activate immune cells. I want to go to these because I asked specifically for those that were more alkaline. We got so many functions in our body, and most of those functions, if not all, are running on acetic acid, basically, or some sort of acetic tendency. Those are things that are less than 7.0 on the pH scale. We'll talk about phenolphthalein and all that other stuff that are indicators. But when your body has most of its functioning that uses acidity to do that functioning, to create a sense of homeostasis, that is a balance of acidity to alkalinity. Sometimes we have to add one or the other to create this balance. Alkaline vegans realize that a lot of our diets are comprised with a lot of meats and cheeses, which are, still adding to the acidity in our bodies. And as everyone has concurred, disease cannot live in an alkaline environment. That's why I was so glad to post that video on TikTok about baking soda. Baking soda, and they gave the lineage, the background of where the baking soda primarily is coming from, where the water's drought areas. And this is taking something that is so negative and low vibrating and making something positive out of it. Areas of drought. And I think this is in Wisconsin, Wyoming. I don't know. Someplace in the United States is what he described in his video, where it dried up and the residue became the sodium bicarbonate. Now the sodium carbonate is what's produced, but they make sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. And natural, having gone through a chemical process naturally, nobody put anything in it that caused it to become baking soda. But I know how, many of us think about it. It's still something that has been manipulated. But I'm kind of doing research to kind of go against that, because I believe that that's insane. It's really insane. A lot of people are suffering from things like fungus, simple fungus. And some of these fungi are not simple at all. But y'all know you can use the alkalinity and sodium bicarbonate in that baking soda to create an alkaline environment such that shit can't exist. Because I'm telling you, all of us agree to the fact that disease cannot survive in an alkaline environment. Now, you can go about it any way that you want to disprove, but Dr. Savy said it, and it is real. A lot of people are trying to. But the alkalinity in that sodium bicarbonate, so many different. And I'm seeing it. That's kind of one of them secrets. Just like that castor oil, that ricinoleic acid that's in that castor oil. Then you got some other oils. And I'm putting the pieces of the puzzle together in true, authentic, organic healing and maintenance. And I'm saying that, some of us, we slicky trick. Yeah, they're putting the sodium bicarbonate, rooted from the baking soda, into certain things that are definitely going to give your body an alkaline. Hey! I don't understand. I'm trying to train my cats, and they know that. Hey! Quick, fast, and in a hurry gets them to obey. But the baking soda creating that alkaline environment immediately, dissipates whatever the thing is. But the trick is maintenance. Do you have to keep taking the baking soda? Do you have to? Just like any of the herbs, like even the castor oil, if your body is constantly fighting something that you're taking things for, and you're using topical things for, so that it could reverse it, are you constantly feeding it the same thing where you have to use these things ongoing for a lifetime? It's never really going to correct it if you don't correct some of the behavior that's causing it. So I would suggest to you, I'm suggesting to everyone, detoxify. Let that be your first set of criterion in ultimately acquiring optimal health. Simple as that. Y'all, I'm supposed to be up on the beach right now. I don't feel like taking off my boots, but on the beach with boots, anyhow, I don't know. It gives me stability. Now, I want to go through all of these actual herbs and foods that you can take that can get you out of the way of harm for high blood pressure and diabetes. And I'm only giving you information that has been that has been researched, and I'm going to give you citations so you can do your own research, how you can completely reverse high blood pressure and diabetes. And this is diabetes too, but I see that with this regimen, it might also affect those with diabetes 1. And that's a completely different beast. But I'm going to keep researching, and I'm going to keep giving you information, sites that you can follow yourself so that you can make your own decision on the things that come out of it as far as the research. Because all I can do is lead you to the water so that you can fill up on all the information that's necessary for you to make that decision. Now, of course, if you have a background of eating disorders of any kind, y'all, step back, reflect on yourself, and then make a conscious decision based on all information that you've researched, people that you've visited, things that you've done. It's very hard to really talk rationally to people that are truly not going to be rational. They're going to they want to be irrational, because some of the things, all of the things that I'm telling you, you got to research. I'm giving you Dr. Alan Goldhammer. If you can't remember anything else, when you think about fasting, go to his site. I'm telling y'all, go direct, because he has all the case studies, up-to-date case studies on some of these fasting case studies that for whatever ailment that he's testing right now. I know that he was doing prostate cancer, I think hypertension. He might have already done case studies on diabetes. I'm not sure. But based on what he's giving as far as his peer-reviewed scholarly publications, I'm giving you my real life experience, having done so many fasts, having started off with high blood pressure. I mean, I'm not telling y'all to do anything. I'm just giving you all, sharing with you all my experience. But anyhow, other natural remedies like vitamin C rich foods to boost the white blood cell count production. It's found in citrus fruits like bell peppers, strawberries, kiwi, and guava. And I'm telling you, a lot of these things you might find right in your backyard, or you can grow. All these things have a seed. You just have to have the right climate and environment to really allow it to do everything it needs to do. I know I'm supposed to be somewhere, but I need to come live because I needed you all. The epiphany for me was straight up. We dictate everything we are with our physical movements. We have to direct our mind to guide our physical body to do exactly what we needed to do, and we know that's right to do for that joy, that epiphany of bliss and well-being. And I felt it. I've felt it. I can't say that I'm right there now because, y'all, I'm telling you, there's something about it that it's a little intimidating. Like, man, to feel like that perpetually is a gift, and you should be ultimately grateful. But it's easy to get to once you actually open your mind to the possibilities of detoxifying your body completely from its root core. You got probiotics like yogurt and kefir. I don't know. Some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff comes from, first I start with ChatGPT. ChatGPT gives me a lot of enlightenment. And I straight go to references, because I always ask, give me peer-reviewed information that corroborates and confirms, or another word that I use in particular when talking to ChatGPT, because I understand already he has been influenced by input from people that really didn't have a clue. Really didn't have a clue. When I look at posts on TikTok where there was an attorney trying to get the bot to understand that about the reading of the Miranda rights, that whole thing was a joke. It's like, I don't know. And I do believe that with constant utilization, these bots with our input, it's going to, resonate to a certain confirmation of facts, resolution of ideas. It's going to kind of incorporate the mass, the feelings and thoughts and way to do things by the mass. I don't see it being an entity that I can go to and ask, what's the purpose of burdock root, and it tell me just that in its most descriptive form, just straw rate with all the bio compounds and how they integrate with the body, not because you got a pharmaceutical industry that's using it and feeding the bot information based on them and constantly integrating in your system that you must be involved with a higher practitioner, someone that's higher than yourself to corroborate and confirm certain information. I don't know. And I kind of take offense to that because I'm realizing that all that's needed is right here, right here. What I need you for to corroborate, collaborate. I don't know. Now, if you have some better understanding of a situation because you've been in it longer and you have some experience with it, I could say, I would suggest checking out this doctor who has actually done this, have these results. But don't tell me to, for safety and stuff, to just talk to a practitioner. That's irresponsible to me. Talk to somebody that's in the health industry. That to me is catastrophic because if you're not on the same vantage point as far as health and wellness to a body that has performed 12 different complete reset fasts of 21 days or more. And if you haven't done that and you're directing a artificial intelligent bot to have me, seek, I don't know, say it different is guess what I'm saying. Don't tell me to seek the guidance of a physician. Tell me I got this person who has like, I don't know, Gary Brecker, is he on that? I don't know. They have creators. They have published creators that follow certain regiments in certain fields. And I know these bots can do this. I know these bots can do anything. They extrapolate the information that we have so quickly and so expansively, it's just not even funny. But the trick is asking the right question. And they said it. And that iRobot, Will Smith, they said it. It's going to be to your benefit if you can ask the right question. Those questions are called prompts. That's why they have engineering classes right now on developing prompts for this AI system. But anyhow, let's get back to the frequency of light in food and its discovery. They say the frequency of light and their connections to the colors we see in food are derived from optics, spectroscopy, and the physics of light waves. How light frequencies are determined. Scientific basis. Light is an electromagnetic wave, and its colors correspond to a particular specific wavelength or frequency. Now, the visible light spectrum ranges from 400 to 700 nanometers. Remember that. Another different unit of measurement. But this is in visible light spectrum. Is measured in nanometers. So the nanometers, oh, wait a minute. The visible light spectrum ranges from 400 to 700 nanometers in wavelength. Oh, that's the really low numbers. Nanometers. So they say with red or longer end and violet at the shorter end. So red is, I got to go back and read this. Frequency is calculated using the formula. Frequency is equal to the constant over lambda. Frequency is in hertz. C is the speed in light. And the lambda is the wavelength in meters. They getting real scientific. I love this. So the application to foods is the pigments and light absorption. So the colors of food come from their pigments. Example, the chlorophyll in greens, the carotenoids in oranges, and the anthocyanins in purples. These pigments absorb certain wavelength of light and reflect others, which determine their color. And that's something. So using spectrophotometers, scientists measure the light absorption spectrum of these pigments, linking them to specific frequencies. So that's how they're doing this. So the light absorption. I love this song. I'm trying to figure out, what do y'all listen to in America? Because I think I have forgotten what I used to listen to really, catch that vibe, to even want to dance. But all of this Caribbean music is right on point. I love the bass. I keep telling people, you get the bass right and then transition from one song to the next so I can keep dancing, I'm in love with you. So earlier breakthroughs in optics were made by Isaac Newton. Now we're talking about back to the 17th century. So if they kind of had an idea about this back in the 17th century, I realize most of the information never made it to the general public. And that's only what I'm assuming. But he studied light dispersion and developed a prism to separate light into colors. Later advancement in spectroscopy in the 19th and 20th centuries allowed scientists like Joseph von Fraunhofer and Max Planck to measure light frequencies precisely. Modern research into biophotons, that's light emitted by biological systems, continues to explore how these light frequencies interact with the foods we eat and our bodies. So herbs and traditional Chinese medicine, which I'm always trying to research, it seemed like they had the magic, and it was refuted because they didn't go through these strict things that needed to go through these strict. Every time I want to say the word, I cannot think of that word. They go through those vetting processes, is what I can call it, for drugs. Where they've done the case studies and all of that, see how it actually relates to each human. So you can kind of, but I think the real truth is the AMA didn't want to adopt these herbs and still wanted to use these herbs, knowing the veracity and the vital nature of them being able to reverse chronic illness was based on capitalism. We all know that. But, how deep it goes is really deep when we talk about dandelion root and Monsanto with Roundup and how that affected, the outgrowth. I mean, they thought that they were, suppressing the growth of dandelion. But what I think actually happened is that it exploded. And a lot of people tried to start saying that any dandelion that's found growing near where Roundup might have been used might be affected. Y'all shut that noise. Any dandelion that is found is proof that the Roundup didn't affect it and is fine to consume. Now, there may be some other toxins in that earth that went along with the stuff that they were using in Roundup that they might have engineered, just because now we know that dandelion root is what's up for heart disease, cancer. I mean, I read it to you, and now they're trying to flag those same videos that have been on my site for years, at least since 21, about my experience with dandelion root, making coffee out of it. And what's so interesting is that particular post, which took me 2 parts to make, I actually did, the video by actually making the dandelion root coffee, starting with pulling the roots from the ground, washing them, drying them, dehydrating them, roasting them, grinding them, and pouring hot water over them, making the milk. All of that I did organically myself in making the dandelion root coffee. In the background, the voiceover, I'm going to print I'm going to do a video where I show the actual peer-reviewed scholarly information that I was reading from on the NIH website. And now it's being tagged for misinformation. I just want to know where. You know what I'm saying? I just want to know where. Because if you're trying to distract people in that, the information that I've posted on that about dandelion, about fasting, about the coffee, about anything, bring it. Everything. I drank it myself. I don't know what else. You know what I mean? You can't defend a negative, meaning that if they say you did something, you know you didn't do something, that's one thing. But if they say you didn't do something, you don't have the correct information, how do you defend that? Of course, I don't have that information because that information is not correct. This is the information that is correct. I'm telling you, attorneys and people with that attorney like mind, especially with these platforms, doing the guidelines and protecting your safety and stuff. Yeah, they know how to utilize all those words, ins and outs, loopholes, all that. I understand it. I'm just giving you straight energy from my own experience. So call it what you like with the research. Now, how herbs are evaluated in the TCM. Now, I want to go back because they were evaluated in one way, and now because you can't refute the bio chemicals that are found in these herbs anymore. And now, we're taking the herbs that you've been using with synthetic byproducts to patent it. Now you're coming forth saying that, okay, now this is a root that TCM gave us for this medicine. And yes, it's so inside out, upside down. But yeah, these herbs that have always been known about, and their biochemical compounds as well as their effects on the human body. And like they said, and I'm going to print that as well because all my stuff needs to be with receipts, and I have my notebooks full of stuff, the origins of them, and I need to start posting that stuff. But anyhow, the TCM have herbs that the many of the pharmaceuticals could not produce without them. Simple as that. They've learned how to isolate the active bio compound in the herbs, add it with something synthetic. Anything synthetic allows these manufacturers of these things to claim patent because it's altering the original natural component into something derived by them. So they should possess the rights to it. But anyhow, what was done with the dandelion and Monsanto, I don't know if it was contrived. I don't know if I haven't done enough research to intelligently talk about it. But some of the things that I read myself, which may be true or not, this is for educational purposes only, in the research that I've done, claims that they knew well out the dandelion was really good for cancer as an alternative to chemotherapy, for heart diseases, so many of them that depend on the DRE, the dandelion root extract, which comes from that dandelion that you see coming out of my garden being roasted and made into coffee. You see it direct on my thing. But NIH has several articles on DRE and how it's been known for a couple of years now that it directly affects the growth of cancerous cells by stopping their growth within hours of contact, better than any chemotherapy. All of that is written outright. I read it directly from that article. You know what I'm saying? Directly from the article. So, I understand that now the word is really getting out. It is now resonating that we possess everything we need within us on spot to repair us. Now, the maintenance, if you go back to eating, yes, you will need maintenance, and that is to eat the right things. The breatharians have a whole different outlook that I'm looking into as well, which is viable as well. Some people go 40 years without eating. Yeah, they got away. It's almost like I learned of one of these fraternities asking their new recruits to knock down the wall, and they couldn't leave until they knocked down the wall. One smart recruit went like this, all down the wall. Is that not the same? From your perspective, is that not the same? Knocking down the wall. Now, perceive, we think that truly we got to push that wall down until it's flat and no longer in existence. Why can't it be this? Knocking down the wall. Sometimes we got to use our wits, our smarts. We got to be able to decipher messages without having them directly pointed out. If you don't get out of here, go. This is what I'm appealing to you. Think of things in a different way. That's just one example of how things that are said may not be interpreted appropriately by people and things that have a different vantage point. When I tell you to knock down the wall, I'm not telling you to physically tear that wall down so you don't see it anymore. It might be a parable of sorts so that you can use your mind and you can think on how you going to knock down the wall. It's all about thinking, changing your perspective, changing your vantage point so that you can see things in a different light so that they all become possible. And I can see it. I want you all to see it. When we think of the TCM, their philosophical foundations are based on its understanding of the principles like yin yang balance and the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, water. Herbs are categorized according to their properties, such as warming, cooling, sweet, bitter. Y'all know what that is. They got another word for it called umami. But anyhow, herbs are believed to influence the body's ki. That's the energy flow. And that's what I was talking about. Start your purge first. Clear the ki. The ki is energy in the TCM. That ki is about the energy flow. And you have toxins and things that block that energy flow. When you purge, you're going to affect things completely different. So this ki is the energy flow and the organ systems. Empirical evidence. The TCM herbs were traditionally evaluated through observation over centuries. Over centuries, healers observed how specific plants affected various conditions and documented their effects. They were documenting this stuff. Yeah, case studies from way back when, done so completely organic and so different than what we're now doing with these pharmaceuticals. I can understand not adopting it because you ain't been trained on nothing that has to do with natural. The girl there from Stanford University med school did a post straight up telling us that she ain't never learned nothing about no herbs and how they affect the body. So how you gonna know? Anyhow, texts like the Shenang Bing Kao Jing, Shenang's Materia Medica, written around 200 CE. When is that? I got to do research on that too. It's cataloged herbs and their effects from 200 CE. When is that? We got to do some research. Now, who determines their use today? Modern validation. In the modern era, TCM herbs undergo scientific scrutiny. Research, they couldn't hide it because many of the herbs in the TCM are letting things go. You know, we know now that a lot of these herbs, these Americans are using in these drugs that they're giving you. And they're altering them just ever so slightly, or so they think, so that they can patent them. But those slight altercations with that synthetic crap are your side effects. And I'm telling you, I've got a chart on just those side effects from that amlodipine that they prescribe us for high blood pressure. I mean, it's making our vessels too relaxed. That's low blood pressure, where your blood is just flush. No, they've got to be a certain tension so the blood that's flowing through it gets regulated. When it's too tight, you have high blood pressure. When it's too lax, you have low blood pressure. The blood has to flow through the vessels with a certain amount of pressure. Our bodies know exactly what that is on point. And to re-regulate that, to reestablish that, to reset that, is stop eating. I mean, completely detoxify the body and regain all of your organs' elasticity, regain all of your body's elasticity, because it is covered by the largest organ for our bodies, which is the skin. And I think that's why when I did those first 21 days and lost 60 pounds. I didn't have no flab nowhere. I was like this because it is actually getting rid of all the toxins that have been stored in that visceral fat. And that visceral fat is from head to toe. So when you start getting rid of that stuff, you just start sucking. I ain't do no workouts. I ain't do any of that. I was straight cold laid up, like cold chilling. Because I knew the construction my body was going to go through because I had never done a fast before. And I was really curious to see what would happen. You know, I laid back and relaxed. I did a lot of computer work and stuff. You know, I was preparing. Like the last couple days, I was preparing to eat. Now, remember, I had just gone to Walmart or Target, one of those places, or Costco, and bought this big-ass canister of cashews. And as I was doing this research, they come talk about, no, you can't have cashews. They're not alkaline, or they're not non-cross-pollinated, or non-GMO, or something was with them that I could not eat them. I was like, use a lot. I put these things on hold, and that was the one food that had me like yearning to get through this fast because I wanted them cashews so bad. I was fixated on them, but I was also fixated on the fact that this had to be good for me, and anything that was trying to make me not complete it was something that was other than me, other than that was within me. And I believe God is within me. So anything that was approaching me, that was kind of giving me that stuff to want to do something other than fast, I knew what spirit that was coming from. And I stayed focused on that because I knew that I needed this after 7 days. That shit that was in that toilet, y'all, please. And they say it's excess mucus that in turn becomes disease. Who knows what kind of diseases I would have had. But this says in modern era, they go through scrutiny like these other pharmaceuticals. Researchers use methods like phytochemical analysis and clinical trials to identify active compounds and validate their efficacy. For example, I knew they had to get rid of or let berberine out of the closet because they've been holding on to that for a minute. Now, this is derived from this herb called Coptis chinensis, gold thread. You might have heard it called gold thread. It's now been scientifically confirmed for its antimicrobial properties. They had to because they're using it all over in all kinds of commercial things for certain ailments. Global organizations, regulatory bodies like China's National Administration of Traditional Chinese Medicine and the World Health Organization. Check that out, y'all. Who provides the guidelines for the use of these TCM herbs? Sounds like a compromise to me. These herbs, you know, anyhow, when they say that these are regulatory bodies of these natural herbs that have been working for centuries, at least since the 200 CE, and I don't even know what CE is, and now they're being regulated by bodies like the Chinese National Administration of Traditional Chinese Medicine and the World Health Organization. Take the information for what it is. Constantly stay up to date on what they're doing as far as research on these different herbs. Constantly stay up to date on any manipulations of the seeds of these herbs, any manipulation of the herbs at all, because I believe that's what's going on. Now that they know that we know that they know all about what can cure us, now they got to step, a little step ahead. You know, I'm saying honestly that there are a lot of things that we need to stay up to speed on, because I never knew that WHO, the World Health Organization, had any interminglings with TCM. I'm telling you, I'm at this point now, unless I see a farmer growing it myself, I don't want it. Because any of the processing, the steps, I'm not for that. And I don't trust none of them. I really don't. It's not even about, um, anyone trying to make money off of, these things. It's about the why alter was natural other than to make money. And you know that every altered natural herb causes side effects. I mean, name one freaking pharmaceutical that doesn't have side effects. And once you interact these natural herbs with your synthetic shit, it causes that natural herb to have side effects. I'm looking at amlodipine. Amlodipine has this thing called Dashin something. Let me go back to it. Dashin. Did I get past it? I did. And the Dashin is a TCM approved herb that has been known for centuries to do what it does. Has been. And now integrated with the synthetics to make the pharmaceutical, it now has side effects. And I don't know. I need to get clarity on if the side effects occur once implemented with the synthetic things to make the drug. Anyhow, I love learning this stuff because you can target what you eat on how you feel or want to feel. You know what I'm saying? My eyes need help. Y'all remember how I used to wear glasses when I first started doing my lives and my videos? I mean, cracked them so that I was wearing them one-armed and all this stuff. Now you notice I haven't been using any glasses. Is that something you're seeing but never noticed? I'm telling you, I'm sitting up there losing weight. And Brittany has to tell me, Mommy, are you okay? I forgot that when you stop eating, you lose weight. Was not my focus. My focus was really doing whatever needed to be done so I didn't have to take that shot. First and foremost, I don't like shots. I'm one of those crybabies. Come to me with some shot if you want. Ah! You know what I mean? Ah, shoot. And it needs to be clean. That's exactly. All things happen for a reason, y'all. I'm telling you. So, learning the vibrations and frequencies of these different fruits, let's start doing some alkaline vegan mukbang chats just based on this information. I think I'm going to come over here a little more often because I think something is happening with my TikTok. You know, my TikTok is really, I know there's one black girl that does meal plans or something. And I guess she has built her empire on this these food things, meal plans, where she got subscribers and stuff. And I came to her live, and she might as well have bust me out for real. I mean, she was like very evil, mean, like, we don't do that. That's religious or political, some shit like that. And I was like, okay, but I think even with meal plans, people, if they start from the core at the beginning, that these meal plans might even hit differently. Then I went on to look at it. She doing meal plans for people to lose weight. I'm like, how sustainable is that? You got to keep eating that shit? I mean, I don't know. But I guess it pissed her off enough where she got, I don't know, some of these people, I've done it to a couple people where I go into their lives just asking about how fasting is implemented or if it's implemented at any point of their regimen. Because to me, if you're not doing any kind of fasting of any kind, I mean maintenance or reset, any kind, you're all out for the money. You got to be, because how can you be interested in someone's health and you don't tell them stop eating something? Or, I don't know what's happening in the background of my phone. It's going crazy. Y'all, I'm telling you, there is a entity out there that really does not want you all to hear about how the core cleansing that needs nothing external of yourself, that can put you on point, put you on game for real, and can't nobody take it away from you other than feeding you shit that cause you not to be able to do it. Like these sugars. I believe some of the sugars in these foods, Goldhammer said it perfectly. The sugar, oil, and salt. If you can eradicate those first, then go to your meats and dairies. Eradicate those. I'm telling you, Some of the things that they are feeding us in these pre-processed foods, these uh, processed foods of any kind. And I'm talking about all kinds. That's your flours, your oils. They're all processed in some way. They're putting stuff in these things that probably shouldn't. Even the packaging that they're putting this stuff in. It's kind of like it's all to have you, I don't know. It seems to me that some of the packaging and some of the contents of some of the food and food items might have some addictive nature, which causes you to not be able to fast. Because just like with caffeine, nicotine, all those enes, you need to finish those before you start fasting. Because while fasting, you have that propensity to want to get those things, and you shouldn't be doing none of that while you're fasting. So I don't know. We got orange fruits, and they tell you of all of their benefits. Yeah, I'm telling you, I love learning this stuff. I'm a load up on these. We got wild blueberries here in St. Lucia. I mean, they're literally growing wild, and I try to let them survive because when it's harvest season, they are all over and they're beautiful. And y'all see what they emanate? Anthocyanins and flavonoids. They help improve your memory and your cognitive function. It combats oxidative stress. I mean, that's anti-aging. Oxidative stress is directly linked to aging your body. It combats all of that. So it's like the fountain of youth. It's high in antioxidants. That's that cancer prevention. Those antioxidants are nothing but free radicals in your body. All of us have them, and they're coming together. They're starting these little private parties. And once they come together, those masses are, and I don't know how to say it properly scientifically, but those become your cancers. So antioxidants break up them parties, keep them things flying free as they should be, and not becoming, little masses. Um, Antioxidants are very important, and they're found in most things. But look at this. This is a direct connect simply because of the frequency it's vibrating on. It's directly connecting to your vibration and frequency in your system, causing this effect. Antioxidant, so that it's not creating any free radical mass meetup, improving your cognitive and memory. I mean, it's a direct connect. Start eating some blueberries. Start eating some blackberries. Start eating some plums and those dark grapes. All of that stuff that's got that dark, rich purple color to them. Those are the ones for this. I mean, you can do it any way you want. The greens, anything that's giving off green, y'all. That's everything, right? Whether it's ripe or not. But I look at those bananas. The skin may be green, but when you break into them, they're white. That's a white energy, and that white energy is all light energy combined. That's all the frequencies. I don't know if that's good or bad. I got to do some research on it, but it sounds good to me. So, yeah, guys, I just want to kind of up you all on some of this stuff, how truly the vibration of things create who we are. I took it way back to find out who gets to say so on this herb, burdock root being a blood purifier. Thinning the blood just so it becomes a catalyst for all other bio compounds in our system. I mean, it really got me to thinking. And they tell us, Isaac Newton, he started with this whole idea of the breakthrough in optics, where every color vibrates on a frequency. I don't know if it was him, but it eventually became that thought through Max Planck, because he was able to measure light frequencies precisely. Yeah, so Newton was the one that actually studied the light dispersion, from the prism. He had that little triangle thing. It's called a prism, four-sided dimension, that could actually take in light, but when it was dispersed out, it formed the light. What do they call it? The light spectrum is what I think they were calling it. So yeah, from the 17th century is what it's dated back to. But it's really interesting. TCM and all of that stuff was back in the 200 BC stuff, you know? It's been around so much longer. And now with this new wave shit, we got to qualify it and quantify it according to this new wave shit. And it's still standing up, but still, 200 CE, what is that? 200 CE is when the empirical yeah, I'm telling you, and that happens more often than not. I get so excited where it's like, whoa. But yeah, the empirical evidence for TCM, the traditional Chinese medicine, dates back to 200 CE. And I do have to go back and look up what CE is, but it just seems like longer than the 17th century. So now we've got all these things that have been based on natural elements, the wood, the fire, the earth, the metal, the water, being quantified and qualified with those understanding on those principles. With those principles, why all of a sudden am I doing this kind of a call? Everything happens for a reason, y'all. I'm telling you, everything happens for a reason. I'm going to look up the Shinong Ben Kao Jing, which has a lot to do with the empirical evidence for the TCM. And the philosophical dates back to the principles and understanding of yin yang and the 5 elements. And I'm going to go back and look that stuff up. So I'll be back with that. Thank you all for those of you who joined and dropped out. I appreciate it. But I'm still going to make these videos because I need to be able to go back and check them out. I have not been able to do that with a lot of my things because I'm not really on TikTok. I have to, curtail everything that I say. And I'm sure here too, but at least I'm able to go through the entire video. Someone can go through and say, okay, we're not going to use that because of our guidelines that have some safety issues. Like I'm telling you, until I went through all this stuff with TikTok and this girl, possibly with the meal plan or somebody that I stepped on toes, telling them that, fasting is going to eradicate your industry, which is not, which is true. I'm trying to say it as a negative. I mean, make it positive. It's true. Fasting, if everyone were to do a reset fast or detoxify on the level that reverses, their industries would be eradicated. No need for them. So yeah, I'm sorry if I stepped on toes, but it's real. Anyhow, when you think about these Chinese herbs that they have found, they've done all this due diligence. They've been checking this stuff out for centuries as far as, what they do to the human body. I mean, that is a track record. But this track record was not qualified to be admissible by the American Medical Association. I'm trying to figure out why that would be. All I can think of is money. If that shit had a hit AMA acceptability and stuff, wouldn't nobody be taking these pharmaceuticals? You'd be on that berberine and stuff, for anything antimicrobial, burdock root, blood purifier. Now check this out, what they say about burdock root as a blood purifier within the historical context. Burdock root has been used in TCM and Western herbal medicine for centuries. It is classified as a blood purifier because of its perceived ability to detoxify the blood by stimulating the liver and kidneys, organs responsible for filtering toxins. Ain't no magic, And the way that the Western herbal medicine has used it is to take the actual bio compounds of the burdock root, add it to something synthetic, something that they making in the lab, so that they can patent it. The only way to patent something that is natural, like burdock root, is to alter it in some sort of way that's just yours. And that's only synthetically. Anyhow, if it weren't, guess what? Anybody could do it. But anyhow, so yeah, it's classified as a blood purifier. Now, how was this determined? Now, first, the traditional practitioners noticed that burdock root improved conditions associated with toxicity, such as skin disorders and inflammatory conditions. So the scientific validation came about. The modern studies revealed that burdock contains inulin, a prebiotic fiber, antioxidants, and polyphenols that support liver function and promote detoxification. So who determines its properties? So ancient texts. The knowledge of burdock root was passed down through TCM texts and European herbal traditions. Modern science, research institutions study burdock for its bioactive compounds. I keep telling y'all, they take the bioactive compounds and they alter it or they add to it just a little bit so that they can patent it, because that puts their own signature on it that makes it separate from the natural occurring to being just theirs. That little synthetic addition or manipulation to the natural. So they've got research institutions study burdock for its bioactive compounds. For instance, arctigenin found in burdock has anti-inflammatory and detoxifying properties. Studies on burdock's effect on the liver validate its traditional use as a blood purifier. So what they had to do is go through and check out just the bioactive part of burdock root. And they found that it has anti-inflammatory and detoxifying properties. So now it's accepted by, the AMA, I guess, or some of those. Who is it that scientific community? And that's where you go through your scholarly peer-reviewed articles so you can substantiate what's actually being done as far as the proffer. Now, one party proffers that burdock is good for blood purifying and detoxifying. They go through all their case studies. You've got the TCM that's got centuries of doggone evidence, and I mean documented evidence on each of these herbs that they have included in their case studies. I mean, centuries of case studies with them. But the AMA, oh no, you haven't gone through what we go through to qualify a herb. So no, we're not going to adopt you. Even though the stuff that they were doing in TCM was so much more invasive and thorough and have been around for centuries. And like, who you think you are? Oh, we get it. That's just an excuse so you can take those things that we done already proven to work for these certain ailments and put your little twist on it so you can patent it so you can make massive money off of it. But arctigenin is the active ingredient, the biochemical ingredient in burdock root, which causes it to be an anti-inflammatory herb and having detoxifying properties. That's all, and that's what I want to get to, the root. We don't need all of these other bends and twists and turns. And what's so great about all organic whole herbs that are not cross-pollinated or genetically modified, if you ever have too much or not enough alone, naturally, your liver is going to take care of it because it's already in your system. It's already gone through your immune system as being something okay. Anything in excess, it just gets rid of. It goes through that lymphatic system and it gets rid of the overage. So I don't think you could ever actually, and I have to do research on this. This is just a hypothesis of mine that anything coming from the ground, if it's done in excess, meaning that at one time overindulgence of it, how will it affect the human body? So I'm going to do research on that as well. So they do the clinical trials and all this other stuff, which I agree with on some level, you know. But for the most part, each of us should be doing these trials on ourselves, because as we do the clinical trials as groups, we're not really getting the results for ourselves personally. It's an extrapolation of what all the group that's like us, got high blood pressure, black, female, lives in the United States, you know, and it depends on what their groups are comprised of, how close they even match you. So anyhow, the understanding of light frequencies and the medicinal properties of herbs has evolved through a blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. While pioneers like Newton laid the groundwork for light theory, centuries of herbal observation in TCM and other traditions have been refined through contemporary scientific methods to validate the benefits of remedies like burdock root. These disciplines exemplify the harmony between traditional knowledge and modern research. Now, this is what Chat GPT had to say as a conclusion after all that was mentioned as far as the differences between traditional Chinese medicine and modern science, the manipulation thereof. And I love the way these people who are feeding information to these bots are trying to make it like we're great harmony between traditional, and it's trying to make it like it's such a harmonious thing. I'm telling you, so many people have died, have not been with us because of our oh no, I can't even call it ignorance. I don't think that my sister needed to die of breast cancer in 2010 when there were protocols and therapies in place that far exceeded those of the American system at Cleveland Clinic. And they knew it. I know they knew it. But I think that, you know, moving forward, there's a reason for everything. And as we move through these different generations and all these ailments and diseases that are being created, formed, I don't know what you call it. How is it we got all these new diseases now that we never heard of just even 50 years ago? So the manipulation of all these new diseases because of all this new technology and all this other stuff, maybe we need to, you know, really hang tight with all that manipulated synthetic crap and get back to nature. I mean, get back to all things natural for a minute. Fast from anything that's not natural. You know, at some point or another, we're going to realize that we need to reverse things that we've done to rectify the damage that's done, because these were actual mistakes that can be rectified. Like whatever they're doing to the freaking coral in the waters, we can reverse that. We just got to get enough coral transplanted so that we can kind of bridge the gap of what the lack of so much coral is doing to our waters and therefore to our health. It's also us standing up and saying, you know, really, we've had fun. We've done our experimentation. Now take all things that work, use them, and get rid of all those things. And I mean all of them. Trillions of dollars worth of research on this bullshit and that bullshit. No, if you haven't found it yet, you won't. Let's get rid of it. Simple as that. Because I think that we're still using technology that is based on some things that, first off, weren't viable. And I'm talking about fluorine in the water. And that is to say that what they told us the fluorine in the water was for may not have been what it was actually for. And now that we know that the explanation they gave for the chlorine being in the water is not effective, is no longer working. We do not need fluorine in our drinking water to keep our teeth white. Y'all know what I mean? We know the baking soda and peroxide, baking soda, period, can keep your teeth white. But it's funny, they didn't put baking soda in the water. That would have alkalized, even though temporarily some of our bottled water makers are doing just that. Y'all know they putting baking soda in your water, sodium bicarbonate, to make it appear alkaline. That's why I say don't buy that alkaline water. That's a joke. That's a straight joke for most of them, if not all. Where they, you look at the ingredients on that water, you'll see that sodium bicarbonate in the ingredients. And that's what it's there for, to alkalize the water quickly. Not really alkaline water, but anyhow. Okay, y'all, I gotta get ready to go. I'm telling you, it's been days of me being in this house on this computer doing research. I bet I miss Degree again. Degree is the board member for our aquatics division for the company. And I'm taking him through the setup. We're going to have our first official gathering as the dive team Sunday. But I really need to get on the water before then. As a matter of fact, I need to call him. I got this burning in my gut. When I think about manifestation and all those things, I get blamed for being in this house perpetually on internet, using electric to do the website and put the thing together for Journey to Enlightenment here in St. Lucia, to really document some of my experience and try to emulate that in some of the workshops and some of the excursions that we have, so people can kind of link into, just a glimpse of some of the really positive things that I'm experiencing on this journey. It's really interesting because I love it, but I'm still perplexed by it because, when you don't really have an authentic group like I do to fall back on, to get encouragement from, to, you can feel lost, but it takes even more willpower to bring yourself up. I'm glad I don't have to do that. That family on TikTok, and I hope all of them, at some point follow over here on YouTube. But if not, we'll still have the content. I can use the URL to share with people individually. But I really hope that we, manifest the family kind of like we had on TikTok over here on YouTube, because this is a freer platform. I don't know what we were thinking over there. That was supposed to be temporary, to get the flow of how people coming together, being able to really talk to one another from different actual neighborhoods in cities, in towns, in states, in countries all over the world, being able to actually talk directly with them and actually see what their experiences were. That was invaluable. That was straight up invaluable. I cannot believe I still have not left this house. And I wanted to. I don't know. Sometimes I do get stuck on stupid. I got to go up there and get the money from the sign back. We've got a sign that I had that I hoped that Excel sign could make, but somehow or another I don't have a clear version of my logo. Why does this smell like cinnamon? Walnut. My snack. I had the banana already. But there's a lot of things that need to be done, and I really appreciate artificial intelligence in some realm for helping me through it. Because honestly, go sit down. Go sit down. Because all that has been done for my alkaline vegan journey, despite a little action from Brittany and CJ back who knows how long ago. The Chat GPT has helped me to at least maintain, and this is even after Square. Um, I mean, kind of nightmares, but things that I know I need to go through to experience simply so that I'm doing exactly what I'm doing now, building my own website from scratch. Because what we have to understand is I don't care whose platform we're on, it's not ours. And many, to get you to act the way they want you to act, they're going to put in guidelines so that you do just that. They don't want to impugn the integrity or the money-making ability of any of their friends. So, I don't know. But it's kind of cowardice. You know what I mean? You have a friend that has, or somebody's involved that has a very big pharmaceutical company, and you have someone that's reporting about some alternative. You might stoop to the level like a Mark Zuckerberg. You know how he did with TikTok, right? I don't know if he started, but he was integral in all the stuff that was happening with TikTok. And it seemed to me to be because straight up he couldn't compete. Nothing, not the algorithm, nothing was he getting with Facebook. Or if he was, it wasn't enough. He wanted more, you know. But I really don't see how TikTok, other than them being a little more advanced, was affecting him on YouTube. I mean, Facebook or Instagram. And yeah, I have pages on both platforms, but you will never find me there. I don't even think I know the password for that crap. But I don't know. That affected me in a weird way. It really did, because I'm not one to really even think twice about it. I just stop using it and move it on. But I don't know. Anyhow, I want you all to realize that even as we use artificial intelligence, those powers that be that are in our midst, that are trying to dictate our thoughts, our movements, our actions, our reactions, they're on artificial intelligence as well. And that's why the prompts are so important. And I believe what the prompts are truly looking for is authenticity. Authenticity will get the right prompt to reveal the right answer. You know, and it's taken me years to kind of catch this. I started with ChatGPT when it started, November of 2022. And from that, I got so many conversations. They're like, my memory is full. And because I don't subscribe to anything that's paid, it is full. But I go back and I look at some of the answers that I got from prompts given with prior conversations. It's like, yeah, we move, we grow, we change. The only thing that is inevitable, the only thing that we know is coming, the only thing that stays perpetually is change. Perpetual change. And we got to get with it. I thank you all so much for joining. I spent 2 hours on this live. And I may edit it at some point. Not now. I'm just going to post it. A lot of stuff that's in here I hope you all resonate with. And I'm going to come back. So I need more of these where I just... You all need to do it too. Anybody can have a YouTube channel. It doesn't matter whether you publish it or not. Keep it to yourself. But at least document it. Today, December 3rd, Tuesday, 2024. You know, you start going back to some of these documented things and you start seeing who you really are. You start seeing what really affects you, what you allow to control you. It's time out for that. It's time to move forward. So y'all join me again. I'm on TikTok and YouTube, My Alkaline Vegan Journey. Join the family, subscribe. We're going to be doing something similar into the new year, but New Year is going to be a new us. So join us with authentic agape love. I'm Robin. This is my alkaline vegan journey.
If I sign up for Flow.